Hey folks, it's me, Brian. This is something that I've only done one other time. I'm going live with a review on a malt liquor Friday. Today I'm having St. Ides, Crooked Eye, and I'm wearing my Wu-Tang shirt because it's only appropriate. They made a commercial for St. Ides years ago, and I just loved it. I just loved it. I sometimes YouTube that commercial. But this was one of my favorites back in the day. Crooked Eye, St. Ides, high gravity malt liquor. It is 8.2% alcohol by volume. And I was able to find it in a glass container at a package store. And let's get to it, folks. Now, if this goes like any other, like any of the other malt liquors that I've had um, these last couple of Fridays, uh, I probably won't drink all of this. I'm at an age now where malt liquor and me don't really agree too much. Anyway, St. Ides, I think it was out of Detroit, right? Milwaukee. Out of Milwaukee, 8.2% alcohol by volume. Here's what it looks like. As always, the malt liquors do have nice color, right? It's just sometimes their taste, well, not sometimes, but their taste is really sweet. It has a lot of bubbles, decent amount of head. How's it smell? Ooh, now, yeah, this is something I didn't do, and I've said this in my other videos. This is something I didn't do when I enjoyed these as a youngster. I didn't smell them. I probably would not have drank so many of them if I had smelled them or got the aroma, because it sort of smells kind of skunky, like a wet shoe type of smell. I tell you, like someone wore wet shoes, brought them into the house, wet socks. That's a terrible. That's just a terrible way to characterize a beverage. Like, I smell wet socks. Let's give it a try, folks. Even though I've had it before. Let's get it. Let's give it a try as an adult. It's medium bodied, some moderate carbonation, and sweet. Sweet. It's really no different from like the Mickeys that I recently had. Tastes very similar. So I think if you like the Mickeys, you would like this also. All these malt liquors are kind of falling into the same like taste slot, if you will. I mean, they're all sweet. They all have about the same color, same amount of head, same carbonation. I think what kind of distinguishes them is how much alcohol is in them. Now, this is a high gravity one, right? It says high gravity. I don't remember them having any other versions except this high gravity. Now, I just had malt liquor recently that wasn't high gravity, but this is the high gravity one. So very corn syrupy. So it's syrupy. It's kind of a dry finish. Yeah, it's kind of a dry finish. I mean, my tongue feels really dry. And if you drink these quick enough, you don't really concentrate on the smell. It's doable. I mean, that had to have been what I did back in the day. Just drink it quick enough and not really try to smell. Because it is a little bit pungent. I feel so bad saying this about, something so storied as St. Ides. I really feel bad saying that. I don't know what was going on with this, though. I mean, it makes it look like the wind is blowing some trees, which would be more befitting of like hurricane malt liquor. So I don't know what's going on. I you know, I'm a date myself. Like, so when I was drinking this, there was no internet, right? So there was no way of like Googling what this was. There was no Google, right? There was no Google. There were no cell phones. There was no internet. My PC was probably as big as, probably weighed as much as my 5 times the amount of my laptop here. And I had a dot matrix printer, right? So these are all things of my youth. A dot matrix printer, which actually, it had the little holes um, on the side of the paper. The holes were used to like roll the paper up as it printed, and you had to like it was perforated, so you had to like peel it off. So that's like the era in which uh, this was being enjoyed. But it's 2022, and malt liquor and me, we're not friends like we were back in the 80s. Oh, I'm really dating myself, aren't I? Yes, we're not friends like that anymore. No, I'm allowing St. Ides to, and malt liquor to come over my house on Fridays, just to reminisce about old times. And that's what we're doing, really. We're reminiscing about old times. I mean, that's wow. I'm just thinking, like, St. Ides, when I first started drinking it, and the Wu-Tang commercial was like 95. So it was a good 5, 6 years before Wu-Tang made that commercial. I think it's 95 or 96. Um, I guess after this, I will put the link to the Wu-Tang commercial. Um, So, what do I think of this? How would I rate this? I mean, it's on par with every other malt liquor that I've had. It's sweet. This smells a little bit more pungent than the other ones. Taste wise, it's kind of like the same. You get the same taste, and I'm starting to get the same headache that I got with the other ones. So there's a reason why I stopped drinking this stuff. I mean, I just would just get these terrible headaches, and um, I just had to stop. I just had to, the 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 death knell was the still reserved to 11. I mean, after that, I was like, no more, ever. Now, I will say this. I stopped drinking it, but I didn't stop I didn't stop purchasing it. So uh my wife likes crab and crab legs, and it brings a good flavor when you boil seafood in it. It really doesn't give it a good flavor. So, I had purchased it um, after I like went cold turkey, uh, but I didn't drink it. And it's actually good for braising beef, also. Beer is, and malt liquor is. That is a good way. That is a really good way to um, use, utilize, let me put it that way, utilize um, beer or maybe alcohol that you don't like in your house. If you're making a pot roast, instead of using beef broth, use a beer. Use a beer, even if you don't like the beer. I mean, it'll make the meat taste so much better. I've noticed that. I've even used liqueurs. Um, Now you can't use a whole bunch because it's so sweet and sugary. Burn the cooking vessel that you have it in, even at low temperature. You got to be careful. But you can even use a little bit of that. So with live comes Bibulous Brian like rambling, right? So this is kind of like how it is when I make my videos. Um, kind of ramble, but I cut all the rambling out. But I'm rambling now because it's live. And when I was drinking my malt liquor, I didn't have it in a glass. I just drink it straight from here. And since it's so cheap, I can't remember what I just paid for this. Probably like $2.99 or whatever. Since it was so cheap, I was so young. Um, it was a way to essentially have a lot of alcohol for a very cheap price and go into some whatever establishment you were going into and not have to pay for like drinks. So, say I was out with my buddies and we were going to go to like some type of club or whatever, I drink one of these before I got in. Then I wouldn't have to worry about, buying a rum and coke. Boy, was I unsophisticated back in the day. So it was this stuff, and then it was like, when I went into a club, rum and coke, it's just, that's the only thing I knew. Um, and over the years, of course, I've learned to appreciate other things, but that's what it was back in the day. Malt liquor, um, maybe a Heineken every now and then, and rum and coke. Like I didn't have gin, I didn't have vodka. Except a couple times I would have vodka. I would have a screwdriver or something like that. I definitely didn't have tequila. I definitely didn't have scotch. I wasn't drinking that either. Um, yeah, it was just rum and coke because I like soda and I like rum, and so it was a whole bunch of sweet stuff essentially, right? So it was a bunch of sweet like beer like products, malt liquor, and a bunch of sweet drinks, rum and cokes, sugary sweet drink. Rum is, distilled from sugar or whatever, and then you add that to Coca Cola. So that's how I rolled while listening to Wu-Tang. The bubbles stick around for a while. I mean, it still has bubbles. I mean, malt liquor does give a good presentation. It doesn't give a bad presentation. It's just the taste. It's very sweet. And it doesn't have the hops to like tame it. And then there's just whatever they got going on in the processing gives me the worst headaches. I'm starting to feel one right now. So it looks good, right? but it really doesn't taste as good as it looks, and it's really not as good as on your body. It's not good on your body. Well, folks, I was going to keep this to 15 minutes, and it's 15 minutes. Thanks to everyone who did join me for this. And it looks like there was like one person. Thank you to that person. Um, and I will see you later, folks. When it comes to rating this, if you like malt liquor, I give it the thumbs up. Um, Malt liquor is a category of its own, and you really can't compare things from malt liquor, items from malt liquor to other real beers. I hate to put it that way, real beers. But if you like malt liquor, you would like St. Ides, one of the most popular malt liquors back in the day. So I'm I'm gonna tell you now, folks, I'm not finishing this. I will not finish this because that won't be pretty tomorrow, even though tomorrow is Saturday and it's a long weekend. It's for us government workers um, or for any other worker who has President's Day off. But yes, I will not be drinking all this. I'm gonna put a cap on it. Probably save it for a rainy day and use it to cook something with. Because if I drink all of this, I won't feel good. But I just want to try it for old time's sake. Stay safe, stay sane, and I will see you later, folks.